Hello, this is Anthony. Let's walk and talk. So, today we're going to discuss a quote and how it applies to life. We're going to discuss a quote by Teddy Roosevelt. And the quote is essentially, "Comparison is a thief of joy." But we're going to discuss this from a couple of different aspects. So, the main aspect we're going to discuss it from, an example we're going to use is relationships. And we're going to specifically use romantic relationships. Because you see, it's important to understand that this quote is a very, very powerful quote. It's a very powerful quote, not because it outlines something that kind of in the aspect of life doesn't seem obvious. It's because you understand how everything is categorized in life, right? So, in essence, ego likes categories. It likes labels. It likes to create the illusion of order through the aspect of control. And let's just dive right into it. Comparison is a thief of joy. Well, when you look at relationships, romantic relationships, what ends up happening is you see that what occurs is that essentially people, when they are in a relationship, they want to compare that relationship to past relationships. And they want to do that because in doing so, what happens is they are able to categorize where that fits in the current aspect of their reality. For instance, to give you an example, like maybe one relationship, romantic relationship, you and that partner have a very deep connection, and in that deep connection you have deep conversations. Yet you then move, that relationship comes to its completion, you move into another relationship. When you move into that relationship, let's say the chemistry in that relationship is exponentially greater than the last. So what happens is we start questioning and comparing those relationships, and what we're trying to do is we're trying to categorize those in terms of levels. Well, this relationship was better than that relationship. That relationship was better than that relationship. And part of that is, really a lot of that is the ego. Why do I say that? I say that because from an egoic perspective, what's happening is you're wanting to review a relationship and decide, is this the one? And the problem is the one is a conceptual concept that I don't believe exists. Is there a one out there that's just for you? I think that's an egoic concept. You see, we understand on this journey that there are many people out there that you can interact with, soulmates or karmics or twin flames, and people say, well, this is the ultimate relationship. But who determines what's the ultimate relationship? You do. And how do you determine that? A lot of times it's based on your ego comparing. And see, this is exactly what we're talking about. It's interesting as you find yourself in different relationships, and as you begin to continue on the journey and you grow and evolve, and you understand that comparing relationships is really I would say, a futile example of existence. Because different relationships are going to offer different aspects of your current reality. And when they're offering different aspects of your current reality, your ego is going to attach to the current situation, whether you view it as a good situation or a bad situation, how you view it on the spectrum. It's going to connect to that, and then it's going to look at all the past relationships, and it's going to say, well, this relationship was better than that relationship, or so on and so forth. And you see how by doing that, what you're actually doing is you're continuing to create the same conflict in you that you've always had. You're not moving yourself to an aspect of understanding the self better. You're moving it to an aspect of understanding ego better. And although it's important to understand ego, it's also important to understand that the integration of ego into consciousness is important. When you stop judging things and you accept things as they are, suddenly you go from the complete roller coaster of life to something much more stable, something much more, let's have a seat right here, something much more, for lack of a better word, expansive. And the reason that occurs is because you're no longer judging it from one perspective of the spectrum. You're judging it more from out of the duality and more into the unity aspect of your existence. What happens is, even when you get in a romantic relationship, if you continue to choose to compare, all you're doing is taking a moment of experience, whether you view it as good or bad, and you're expanding it into your interaction. But when you understand, and this is the most important aspect of what we're going to talk about, when you understand that these different relationships, they're not better or worse. You can be deeply in love with someone and it doesn't work, and meet another being and fall deeply in love with that being, but understand that you're not comparing the two relationships. It's like looking at two separate paintings by two separate masters. They're both beautiful. They're both amazing. But they were created by different people, and they have different aspects of that person's experience, mastery, and ability in them. When you understand that, then you can truly understand how you can love two separate things equally and greatly without comparison. You see, trying to compare works of art from different masters, from different even artistic styles, is exactly like comparing relationships between romantic relationships between you and a former partner and a current partner. There's just no comparison. There are aspects of the current partner that you like versus aspects of the past partner, and vice versa. But these are all just, again, they're aspects of spectrum that exist in the interactions of people. By understanding this helps you to choose what aspects that you prefer. Meaning, some partners might be more nurturing, maybe you prefer that, or some partners may be more intellectual and you might prefer that. You see, these are all aspects that you get to choose on your journey. And when you start to understand that that's what you're looking at, that's what you're viewing, that's what you're choosing, it takes away, that the other person isn't worthy. It takes away the hierarchy. It takes away all of the conflict. You see, by understanding that, that I choose this in my life and a person doesn't embody that, that doesn't mean that they don't have that quality. It just means that that's not their primary quality. And so it doesn't make them unworthy. It creates a situation where you are choosing what is more important to you from an aspect of such things as personality. So hopefully that makes sense to you. Hopefully you can understand that, because I think that the more you can embody these aspects in relationships, the more harmony that you can create in your relationships. And on top of that harmony, the more you can better understand self and what you desire, so that when you go to, say, manifest new relationships, you can be more discerning about the people that you choose to invite into your existence, into your life, from those perspectives. Again, in this aspect, we're talking more romantic, but this applies to every relationship in your life. It applies to relationships, from friendships to family to, work relationships. When you start to understand the things that you value most, then you'll start to attract those things in, and those will be people that you'll resonate with deeply. But it doesn't take away from the relationships that you've had prior to that. But what say you? How do you feel about that? Do you think that it's more appropriate to rank and compare relationships? Or do you think by taking the time to rank and compare, what you're doing is you're just taking away the beauty of what a connection with another being offers you? You're taking a moment in time and you're categorizing it in your life. As always, if you enjoy this content, Please like, share, and subscribe. Today's a great day, and I am truly grateful. And until I talk to you again, peace, love, light. Hope you have the most amazing day.